Hi, I'm Vicky, and this is a little bit about my multi-ethnic journey. I had actually never really knew my ethnic background until um, doing Beyond Colorblind, and as I researched it, I found that I am part English, German, Belgian, and Polish. And I knew that I had ancestors that had came over on the Mayflower from my mom's side of the family, and that were a lot of sailors and sea captains. But on my dad's side, my great grandpa had been adopted, and we didn't know where he came from. And so there'd always felt a little bit of disconnect from even the topic of ethnicity, because I just felt like I didn't know who I was. So being able to study more about that and learn like my background has given me like a newfound sense of identity. Um, so as I was realized like what my cultural background was, I thought about like what really is European American culture. I mean, my ancestors have been here for a long time, and I realized that my love for the outdoors and for adventure and um, doing new things could maybe be attributed to the culture of being European American, this idea of adventure and conquest and discovering new lands. Um, I think there's like good to that. There's also all of this past history of how conquest and colonization and all of that has caused a lot of pain for other peoples, and that has been hard for me to process because I have a lot of friends from different cultures, and knowing that my ancestors were probably the ones that murdered their people and enslaved their people has been pretty hard to comprehend. um, I feel like there's a lot of good and bad mixed with my European American heritage. I also realized as I think about my family, um, there is a high value for independence, but I also feel like that with that, I haven't experienced a very high value for family, especially compared to some of my um, Latino and Polynesian friends that they are really close to their family. And I realized that for me, there is these feelings of shame and guilt if I need to ask my family for money or assistance, or um, there's just this really strong value for independence. Um, I think God has been redeeming my ethnicity in a lot of ways. When as a child, I traveled abroad a lot, um, and I lived in China and I lived in some other countries, and it was hard for me because when I'd come back to Utah, I would just get angry at everyone else because like, you guys don't understand, you don't know what it's like in the rest of the world, you've never been outside of Utah. And God has started to redeem that attitude in me to see that that's not the way that I will share with people about his love for multi-ethnicity and his values just by having anger. So he's changed my heart to be more humble in a way that I can listen. I can understand international students better because I've lived in those countries. I can invite maybe students that have just lived in Utah to learn more about multi-ethnicity. Um, I feel like he's given me a real heart for especially students from Africa, from China, the refugees and the poor and orphaned, because I've been to those countries and I've seen just what that looks like. He's also given me the opportunity this year to work at the Multicultural Center on campus and being able to face some prejudices that I've had, especially against Black students and Native American students, just from growing up in Utah and not having a lot of experience with those ethnicities. So I think God is continuing to invite me into these spaces of difficult ethnic conversations, but also is showing me his heart and his desire for all people to worship him.